Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of RipNRiff here on the RipNRiff YouTube network here, also on Twitter at the same handle and Facebook as well. As you can see down there, he is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. This is what we do. We come at you on Wednesdays. We rip a few packs of cards, talk about some sports headlines, maybe some other stuff, and talk about the guys that come out and have a good time doing it. Jared, hopefully the packs are as sizzling as the summer has been, especially on both of our necks of the woods here recently.
Yeah, I don't know about sizzle. I mean, I know what we're planning on opening today, and I'm very excited, in part because I don't know what to expect. So we will leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll get to the pack ripping lineup in a second. Of course, we got our Rip and Rants coming up today. One will be Yankees related. They've been making some moves lately here. They've been in the news. Another one will be fantasy draft related. We've got a few good packs coming to you today. So let's just jump right in here. What I'm bringing to the table today, I got some Topps 2023 Series 2 baseball there. You can see the rookies we're looking for there is Anthony Volpe, Jordan Walker, Kodai Senga, and the parallels and rainbow foil and legends of the game, and the social media follow back one I thought was actually pretty cool, where they will follow you back on Instagram, like there's a card that like the QR code or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Then I randomly got a bunch of football packs from this guy in Hawaii. He sent in a random lot of our early 90s football packs, a jumbo pack of scored 1992 NFL football. No great rookies there. Mark Schlereth, Jamie Dukes, Steve Bono. I almost said Sonny Bono. Would have been the wrong guy. Maybe there's a share card in there. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the Dream Team insert series. I don't know.
Very nice. Yeah, and shout out to Stink, one of the all-time great media guys. So definitely big fans of him on this show.
Yeah.
I'm going off the board today. I teased this pack last week. This Tetrad 95 You Make the Call pack is Signature Rookies, introduces the top 1995 draft picks in all four sports, and it says who to look out for. Many of the names that you currently have listed there are some of the players that are part of this. You make the call on at least one autograph card in every pack, 8 cards per pack. So, yeah, I'm going to make the call and say I would like an autograph card in both packs. This is, if you go look on the back of the pack, it says look for special chase sets, B1 Bomber for 5-card set of baseball's top draft pick, Darren Erstad, 4 signature rookie forces set from the 4 major sports, Titans 5-card set, including Dennis Rodman and Roberto Duran. Only 250 of each will be signed. I would love a Dennis Rodman autograph. That would be pretty sweet.
That's a nice thing to have in the collection.
Yeah, and it is officially licensed by like the NCAA, and I can't tell who these other officially licensed leagues are. I don't recognize the logos. So, I mean, it's packed from the mid-90s. So, what can you expect at this point?
Yeah, but there's still some cool names in there that we saw, like Kevin Garnett, Damon Stoudamire, Ryan Smith, Kerry Wood, Shane Doan. There's a couple of other guys in there. Jerry Stackhouse was another one, Todd Helton. So some cool rookies in there nonetheless. It'd be definitely cool to get at least one autograph if we can't get one out of each pack. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But of course, we start every episode of Rip and Riff with Rip and Rant. So without further ado, it's time to kick things off on Rip and Riff with
my Rip and Rant.
Thanks, Dave. Yes, indeed. It's time for our one of our favorite segments here, Rip and Rant. Jared has a baseball-related one today that I totally agree with his take because we talked about it over the weekend. And mine is a little bit fantasy sports related. He doesn't know what it is yet, but he knows it's draft related. So who wants to kick here? Who wants to kick off?
I'll receive because I just want to get this off my chest. So
Let's do it.
The baseball trade deadline, by the time you hear this show, the deadline will have passed. But the Yankees, probably the biggest move that they're going to make, barring anything today, is their trade for Chad Chisholm Jr. from the Miami Marlins. And as you know, as a baseball fan, Jazz Chisholm Jr., versatile player, can play a bunch of different positions. Can play some center field, can play some second base, and as we saw with the Yankees game on Monday night, made his major league debut at third base and actually looked pretty solid there. So shout out to him there. So after the trade, after the Sunday night game, they were talking. Boone had mentioned during the pregame how they wanted to get both Chisholm and Gleyber Torres reps at third base down the stretch, because you're trying to win baseball games, you're trying to win a pennant, you're trying to win a championship. You want to see how versatile your lineup is, and the more options you have, the better.
This is the time of the year to do it.
Exactly. So Gleyber Torres was approached about this after the game and didn't seem really too enthused with the idea, and basically said, I'm a second baseman, I'm going to play second base. And this really irritated me as a Yankee fan for a variety of reasons. Number one, you're arguably the worst defensive second baseman in Major League Baseball. So to plant your flag saying you're second baseman, good luck with that. But also, you're going to have this take when Aaron Judge, who is one of the three best players in the league, if not the best player in the league, is one of the best right fielders in baseball, moved off of right field to center field for the betterment of the team. You're going to take that approach when he's doing that? Like, who the hell are you to be saying, yeah, I'm a second baseman, I'm staying at second base? And, like you said, if A-Rod can move to third base, Alex Rodriguez, who was the biggest star in the sport when he got traded to the Yankees, he can move to third base and not make a stink about it. But Gleyber Torres can't. Like something's wrong with this entire picture here.
Or how about just in the current scenario, Jazz Chisholm's like, yep, sure, I'll give it a shot at third base, no problem. And it looks like he handled himself pretty well his first game there. So, it's just, listen, the last thing the Yankees need right now is a malcontent. It looks like, the Chisholm trade was a great acquisition. Hopefully that, turns things around. They can neck and neck with Baltimore down the stretch for the division. But you got to have the right attitude guys in the locker room. And if you're behaving like that, that's no bueno. Somebody's going to have to sit down with him and be like, listen, if they tell you to, refill the Gatorade jug, do it. What are we doing here?
He's lucky he's still on the team. And he's probably not going to be on the team next year. He's a free agent at the end of the year. The Yankees, they're going to try to re-sign Juan Soto. And if they're going to re-sign Juan Soto, they're going to have to make some cuts elsewhere in terms of trying to save a few bucks here and there. And a guy like Gleyber Torres, who's been very inconsistent offensively, is an obvious area where you move on, especially when the fact that you traded for Jazz Chisholm and you could just slide him in the second base the next couple of years because he's under team control. The entire thing just rubbed me wrong as a Yankee fan.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Torres, when they go out and get a guy that could take my spot, maybe that should be the wake-up call to be like, all right, I just got to be a little bit better all around here. Whatever you need, I'm here, coach. But he did not have the right response. So yeah, I agree with you. And he hasn't had the best of season. Sure, he's had little spikes here and there, but overall, just not the best year for Torres.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that's trying to win a championship, it's just completely unacceptable.
Yeah, you can't win with a guy performing the way he has performed the bulk of the year. So I completely agree with Jared's rip and rant there. I'm going to shift gears here and go to overall fantasy drafting. So we've all been in all sorts of drafts, and when it's a live draft, you get sniped and you don't know what to do, and the clock runs out, and you just end up taking the top player at your queue or best available. It happens to everybody. Not a big deal. Fine. You still get the best available guy on the board according to whatever platform you're doing. So it's not the end of the world. Maybe it's not somebody you wanted, but it could be worse. When you're doing a slow draft, like right now, I'm in a couple of slow best ball drafts, one football, one hockey, and it's an 8-hour clock. I'm sorry, if you let the clock go, you shouldn't get the best available. You should get the 10th best available, because you had 8 hours to make your pick. You could have amply look at, okay, I'm 4 picks away, so let me put 5 guys in the queue. So I know I'll get one of them and it'll go right away. And that's fine, but it shouldn't just automatically default to best available if you let the clock run down. Because I know there are some leagues where, in our rookie draft, the league in the Dynasty Football League we're in, if you don't make your pick when the clock runs out, people can just start jumping you until you make your pick. A lot of these underdog platforms don't really have that. So I think
it's a nice throwback to the time when the Minnesota Vikings missed their pick in the NFL draft.
that was like, if you're a hardcore football fan, that was one of those where were you moments when like the Vikings just like, it's like, what are you talking about? This is not like 5-minute clock either. They had like what was it? It was either 15 or 10 at that
I think
point.
it was 15 at the time.
It was 15. You're right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, inexcusable. Like, and I get it. Sometimes you got to let the clock milk down for drama at like the real draft. Sometimes, even if we all know who's going first overall, like Caleb Williams. But like, oh yeah, the teams that take it all the way down, it's like, what are we? I'm glad the NFL went from a 15 to a 10 in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about this because obviously your intention is to get a good player wherever you pick, and I guess I get that you want to penalize somebody for not getting their pick in on
If
time.
you have like
but I think
8 hours,
yeah, but I think automatically assigning them like the worst player that they're just going to wind up dropping after the draft isn't necessarily the answer.
I wouldn't say
I'm not sure what the right answer is with this. I would probably just say no pick and just move on as opposed to doing that, because now you're making me do extra work by cutting the guy.
I wouldn't say worst available. I would say like, okay, maybe 10th best available at that point in the draft. So like you're still getting
But I don't know that I would do that either, because some guys have sleepers that like they're looking to grab in like the 11th or 12th round. True. And we know who some of those guys are, and they might fall into that range. So that's one of those things. I'm not sure what the right answer is there.
Fair point. I just feel like it's like with an 8-hour, like I get it, like an 8, but like people, I'm out hiking. I don't have a, but like, if you're going to take part in something that is going to have an 8-hour clock, just, occasionally check like, okay. Oh, and I understand them, but it's just like, don't be a part of a draft if you can't commit to like making a pick within 8 hours, especially when the clock shuts off overnight a little bit, or they make it 10 hours overnight.
I mean, we certainly have done plenty of that over the years in the dynasty leagues where people let the clock run out or any of that. So, kind of is what it is. I do have a minor little fantasy gripe if you'll indulge me for a second.
Of course, yeah, we got a couple.
So I casually mentioned one of the guys that I play poker with regularly. He casually mentioned that that he started a dynasty league. So I happened to mention to him that I play Dynasty. And now every time that I see him, he's one of those, hey, check out my lineup sort of guys. I despise talking about other people's fantasy teams, like especially for people that like I'm friendly with, but like I'm not like, I'm not going to go hang out with this guy outside of poker. Like we're not going to go grab a beer together. It's one of those things. So and especially when you're analyzing somebody's fantasy football team, I mean, it's July. Basically, everybody's fantasy team like looks good at this point. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like what opinion am I really supposed to have with this thing?
It's like everybody's got a chance going in the training camp. Like everybody's got a chance at the Super Bowl. Like that's the same thing with fantasy right now.
Right. Like as long as like you're not coming out of your fantasy draft having drafted like every member of the New York Giants, I think you're fine.
Yeah, like unless it's like somebody when they look at their team and they have like one of those like reactions, like you're fine. Like that's all it is right now. It's just you go with your gut, go with your strategy, and we'll see what happens. Because like injuries change things. All of a sudden, who's a starting quarterback somewhere? You know what I mean? Like it's you got to let the preseason actually get underway a little bit here.
Yeah. So do not approach me with your fantasy teams. I'm just not interested. If you happen to see me.
At Mr. Jared Moore on X. There you go.
For all the best fantasy advice.
Before we get to pack ripping, so we're not going to do a traditional I Love Lucy today, but on Sunday morning, I'm scrolling through my phone and it just pops up on my feed in like one of the local for sale groups. There's a guy at a local flea market's got cards for sale, and I actually was able to pop over there. I was like, all right, let me go and see it. I don't like buy anything really high end. The budget doesn't allow for that. But it was the day or two after the Jazz Chisholm trade, so there was a Jazz Chisholm rookie card in there. So I figured, let me pick that up. That was a sign.
Oh, nice.
And we got also a Bowman one, numbered 191 out of 299. Looks like a purple parallel there. Then also we got 20 years of the captain, Derek Jeter. So that in the mix. Like I like, I'm a sucker for like these like random little inserts. Love Ricky Henderson as a kid. Got that one there. It's a stadium club. Run, Ricky, run. I mean, that's the picture of Ricky Henderson right there. Ronnie Lott. That was a cheap one I just threw in. I was a big Herman Moore fan as a kid. The little mosaic there action. And then
I
we
think I have
got
that card.
what?
I've definitely pulled a Herman Moore Panini something card at some point. I
When I
remember
was
pulling that with Coop.
I when I was flipping through, that card did like I think I've seen this or whatever. I'm like, and I just threw it in, and then just two more quick ones here. This is what like refractors and stuff looked like back in the day. This is like an old mid '90s Elway Bowman there, and you can kind of see it a little bit when like move it around up and down. You can kind of see it reflects the old Bronco jerseys. And then we got
that is as '90s ass as it gets, and like I say that in the nicest possible way. Like I see that card, and I just want to pick up some Pogs to go along with it.
Absolutely. You get both in the same place sometimes. And then we got a Warren Moon. You know my thoughts on Warren Moon, plate and patch here. This one's a patch there with a little bit of a reflective moon. So, like, I got all that for $15. Not too bad.
Where's the patch? I don't even see it.
So, I believe this is a plate card. So, like, instead of there being a patch there, this is like the template they use for like all of them. So, I did not pay $8 for that. Don't worry about that. Not pay $8 for that. But yeah, all 15 for all of them. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
Yeah,
I like the nice assortment you got there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of like Giants and like Bay Area teams, which like, nothing really for me there. But didn't really have any San Jose Sharks, which I can be a sucker for. But yeah, I took the Jazz Chisholm as a sign. I'm like, let me at least grab those two.
Very nice. All right, you ready to rip some packs?
I'm ready to rip some packs. You want to just keep going with the baseball right now on my end, and we'll tease.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that.
Let's tease the people as long as possible here because I'm very intrigued. The 95, there's potential in those packs. So we're going to start with some 95 Topps baseball.
Hopefully every player in this pack got traded at some point in the last 48 hours, and we can break it down comprehensively.
Absolutely. So the 2023 Topps Series 2 baseball here. We start off with a Kyle Isbell Royals card. Good looking basic card there. We got Jake McCarthy from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Stolen base.
Jake McCarthy, solid player. I like the fact that he comes out to Kurt Angle's entrance theme music. I was watching some of the Diamondbacks game the other night against the Pirates, and I picked up on that, being the wrestling fan I am.
Yeah, it's always cool when they like some players will come out to like whatever's hot at the time, but like when they got their own theme or they take like a wrestler's theme or something like that, that's always fun at the stadium. Yan Gomes there, picture with the Cubs, longtime catcher. Not a great pack to start here as we move along. We got Bryce Wilson pictured with the Brewers. All right, Jerks and Profar card. Okay, getting a little bit better. Let's see.
He's an all-star starter this year, so shout out to him.
Yeah, he certainly has had a nice season. We got another Padre here. We got Matt Carpenter, who's kind of like a bounce around utility guy there the last few years of his career. Let's see here. We got a Nate Eaton rookie card, Kansas City Royals. It's a nice looking one. Hunter Strickland with the Reds. Eric Haase with the Tigers. Aaron Savale, he got traded recently. He's pictured here with the Guardians, but he got traded over to Milwaukee from the Rays. So been on a couple of teams just since his card has come out. He's not gone well for him in Milwaukee. Some people thought that he would be a little better on a better team, and that has not been the case so far.
I couldn't believe the stat I saw the other day that Milwaukee has now used 17 starting pitchers in the rotation this season. We're 100 games into the season. They've used 17 starting pitchers.
They're still towards the top of the division, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, so that's just crazy. I mean, I know they've churned through guys. They traded for Dallas Keuchel at one point, and that lasted 4 or 5 starts before they DFA'd him, and they just traded for somebody. I forget which starting pitcher they literally just traded for. Not Savale, it was somebody else. But you may continue.
We got Dane Dunning here from the Texas Rangers, who have made a surge up the standings recently there, and so have the Astros, unfortunately. The Mariners just can't ever hold a division lead. We got pictured with the Cardinals here, Dylan Carlson, outfielder. And then we got a couple of White Sox to close the pack here. We got Lurie Garcia picture with the White Sox, and looks like we've got our World Baseball Classic insert here of Luis Robert, a guy who has not been traded yet, as far as I know, but has a bit potential to be moved.
Yeah, and it sounds like he probably won't get traded if you believe the latest reports. So we'll see if that ultimately comes to fruition. I mean, great. He's a great bat. I mean, if you certainly need, that thump in the middle of your lineup, I mean, he's not going to do much for you defensively. He's probably best suited as a DH, to be honest. But and I know he's missed a lot of time this year. But Luis Robert, one of the great young hitters in baseball.
I've got him on my fantasy baseball team. I don't want to talk about it too much because I know you don't care to hear about anybody else's fantasy teams, as we've learned earlier today.
You're right, I know.
But he's been once he came back, he has been fantastic. He's been very steady. He's been reliable. I also have Chisholm, so that's nice too. But that pack not so it's all right. Not great. Maybe we'll do.
I do like that Luis Robert card with the Cuba though. I like that. That might be a contender for the best pull.
I mean, that's went right in a sleeve. So yeah, that's gonna that is the one thing that has come out of the pack is that I do have a strong contender here for a pull of the day. May as well just keep rolling and go right with the football here. What do you say?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. This is a Score 1992 Jumbo pack here.
This is a Jumbo pack with Jumbo Elliott in it.
It was so jumbo that I dropped it. I couldn't handle the weight of it at first. I should have kept 2 hands on it. That's why it's so jumbo. 35 cards here. Let's hope we get some. Yeah,
I know you mentioned that, and I keep forgetting it. But yeah, that's quite a bit.
All right, so we got the 92 Score football, and we'll breeze through some of the guys or teams we don't want to talk about. We can talk about the upcoming season for some of these. First up, we got Gridiron Stars here. A little bit of bricking here, so pardon me. Let me with a little separation here. We start with Neil Smith, Chiefs defensive end. He was a hell of a pass rusher in his day.
Yeah, and the Chiefs should very much be in the mix for that three-peat. I don't know if they're actually going to get the three-peat, but I mean, they certainly have the quarterback. They certainly have the head coach, and if they can get through the AFC, I mean, I don't see why they can't.
And I don't see anybody challenging them in that division, so that's already checkbox off one right there. It's okay, you're going to have a home game in the first round of the playoffs. At worst case scenario.
Right, Buffalo took a step back. I'm not sure that Houston's quite on that level yet, and some of the other teams. I know you're a Jets fan. I'm not buying the Jets as a legitimate contender, so it just kind of is what it is.
I think the Jets could be a playoff team. They could be a wild card team. That division. It's not New England, but it could be any of the other 3. But I still think Buffalo probably takes the East. There's a Bronco there, Mike Kroll. Second appearance of those orange crush Bronco jerseys here. Let's go to the NFC South. We got the Gridiron Stars, Michael Haynes here in the Deion Sanders era black Atlanta Falcons jerseys there. Falcons, Kirk Cousins, NFC South. Is it them in Tampa? I mean, are we giving Carolina or New Orleans a realistic chance here, or is it just like a 10-7 tie-breaking winning Atlanta or Tampa Bay gets it?
I mean, for Carolina, Bryce Young would have to take a really huge step in his second year. And I don't know if he's capable of it. I mean, I did like him coming out. I didn't anticipate that he would be as mediocre as he was in year 1. So I don't know. I mean, I know they hired Dave Canales as the head coach. We'll see how that pans out. The Saints, I'm not really buying. I don't buy the Dennis Allen, Derek Carr combination. They ultimately need. The Saints probably need to tear it down and do a full rebuild, but they're so pot committed with how they've been kicking the can down the road with the salary cap the last, seemingly forever, but especially the last decade or so. I'm not sure that I see the Saints doing anything more than going 7-10. So, yeah, I'd say it's probably between Atlanta and Tampa. I'd probably give the edge to Atlanta. Cousins is a good quarterback. I mean, we'll see if he's healthy. Not that he's a guy who relies on mobility a ton anyways, coming off the torn Achilles. And the fact that Arthur Smith's not there anymore, and let's just see what they look like, what their offensive weapons look like, because they're loaded on the offensive side of the ball with Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London and those guys. So we shall see.
We shall see. And like you said, Atlanta, obviously the Cousins addition, but now they've got some receivers behind Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They had Darnell Mooney. They brought in Rondale Moore. So, they're giving Cousins some decent options there. We got Mark Carrier, former Pro Bowl safety for the Chicago Bears there. Are you in the Bears are going to the playoffs camp or not yet camp?
I mean, it's a pretty good situation. I mean, it's going to come down to how good Caleb Williams is in year one. And Caleb Williams, I mean, I know he went number 1 in the draft. He did not have a great year last year at USC.
Agreed.
And I think there are flaws in his game. And I mean, he could certainly iron them out. He certainly has all the tools to be a franchise quarterback. But I think the people who are saying that, yeah, the Bears are, a no doubt about it, playoff team in year one and a potential Super Bowl team in year 2 and 3 while he's on that rookie contract, I think it's probably jumping the gun a little bit.
Agreed. I think in that division, you're looking at Detroit, Green Bay as the top 2, and Chicago, I think, can nip at their heels, but I think they're the 3rd best team. We got a Hall of Famer here, Seahawks defensive tackle Cortez Kennedy. Nice action shot there with the old Seahawks look. Jim Everett. Do you think Jim Rome has the career he has if he doesn't call Jim Everett Chris repeatedly? Is that
probably not, because that put him on the map?
I was gonna say, like, that's one of those, like, all right, I'm gonna be a jerk, but like it gets me known kind of thing. Andre Tippett from the Patriots there. Shout out Coop. Mentioned him earlier. Love the old Patriots logo there. One of the great return men, Eric Metcalf, back in that era with the Cleveland Browns. They'll be an interesting team to watch in the AFC North this year. Let's see. What do we got here? We got Hardy Nickerson, pictured with the Pittsburgh Steelers there. Man, that's when the one linebackers used to wear like massive shoulder pads. I mean, look at those things. How do you run with those?
Yeah, he's just a massive human. On top of being a massive human being, yeah, he's got the massive shoulder pads as well.
Let's see. We got back-to-back Eagles here. We got Andre Waters. Love that old Eagles look there, that old Eagles helmet. Glad they bring that back occasionally. And then Heath Sherman. From the
Kelly Green's a sharp look.
It's a great look. And I'm partial to that because I like when the Jets went to Kelly Green as well when I was a kid, and now kind of back to that. Now we got Dolphins Tony Martin there, getting tackled by a Kansas City Chief. One of the great offensive tackles of the 1990s, Lomas Brown, Detroit Lions.
Yeah, great offensive lineman. One of the all-time greats.
Let's see, what else do we got here? Now we're in the green parallels here. We got Raiders, Lionel Washington, their quarterback situation. Certainly interesting with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and bring Tom Brady out of retirement. Blah blah blah.
They're not gonna do that. But
no, he's committed to the TV booth this year.
This feels like a Aiden O'Connell. This feels like a Gardner Minshew one and done. Aiden O'Connell. He'll be a career backup after it doesn't pan out this year, and I'm not sure how Antonio Pierce is going to survive it. I mean, I know he got hired after the team looked pretty good down the stretch last year, and the players loved him, but that only goes so far. And if the team goes 5-12, 6-11 this year, which is very much in the realm of possibility, I don't think that Mark Davis is going to have any hesitation to get rid of him and get a different coach in there.
And don't forget, Josh Jacobs out, Zamir White in as a lead. They drafted Dylan Laube from University of New Hampshire. So I mean, not a lot of offensive upgrades at this time.
And they might want to trade Devontae Adams at some point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know they added Brock Bowers in the draft, and that's great. And he could certainly add a dynamic to that offense, but I think they're going to need more than that, especially, in a division with the Chiefs. So,
a solid pick a year after using a high draft pick on a tight end and Michael Mayer.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to do.
Solid use of assets there.
You want to go a lot of 2 tight end sets. Maybe that's the goal here. We got John Offerdahl here with the old Miami Dolphins. He was just a stalwart linebacker for them forever. We got Neil O'Donnell, who is part of the Jets' crappy lore there. Brought him in off of the Super Bowl, lost to the Cowboys, and just never panned out as a quarterback. We talked about the Bills earlier. There's Carlton Bailey, another Cleveland Brown here, Vince Newsom. Haven't heard his name in the news in a while. Herschel Walker, Minnesota Vikings.
Thank God.
Yeah. We got Dave Meggett. Skip by him. We got one of the better kickers of the era, David Treadwell. Now, I'm actually kind of excited about this card because this is Tom Tupa, who you remember as a punter, but he did play quarterback in that game when Vinny Testaverde got hurt with the ghost Achilles injury back at the old Giant Stadium. Here he's pictured as a quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. So that's kind of a cool little random card to have there.
That is pretty cool.
I might even put that in a sleeve because I like that. I know it's a base card, but that's a cool one. We got Jeff Herod from the Colts, Steve McMichael, one of the better defensive tackles from those Bears teams of the late '80s, early '90s. Let's see here. Packers running back Keith Woodside. Sorry, can't say I don't know much about you. Brian Washington, who's a good safety for the Jets in his era. Alexander Wright, Cowboys receiver. Let's wrap up here with some few more here to go. We got a Terrell Buckley rookie card. I might even put that one in a sleeve. That's a nice one. Good cornerback in his day. This one I'm definitely putting in a penny sleeve because I collect Derek Thomas. The sack attack there has the 7 sacks in one game record, which may have been broken since then, I believe. We got Tim Barnett from the Kansas City Chiefs. And then here, this one's called a Super Bowl 26 highlight card, which is, I guess one-sided highlight because if you're a Bills fan, there wasn't really a lot of highlights in that game. But if you were a Redskins fan in that game, then yes, you had some highlights.
Yeah, if you're a Redskins fan, that might be one that piques your interest.
Absolutely, and you know what that was gonna. Yeah, I got a few. I mean, again, I know it's a 92 score, jumbo pack, but there's some stuff there that maybe can get 50 cents or something. Broncos linebacker.
All right, this is gonna sound terrible. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
because you know how anytime someone says not to be racist and then they immediately followed up with something racist.
Yes.
Am I a bad person for missing the Washington Redskins?
You mean the logo and the team name and all that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think. Listen, it's the color scheme was nice. It's a nice looking logo, but I understand that could be offensive to some. So I mean, it's definitely a different NFC East because I mean, if you go back to that era, it was always the Cowboys, Washington, Giants, Eagles, just like those four. The Cardinals were in the NFC East for a while too, but it's just like those are the core four of that division. And it's just it doesn't look the same. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Commanders name either. I feel like I don't remember what the other options were, but Commanders was not the one that I would have picked.
Right. Yeah. I don't like the Commanders. I don't like the jerseys. I know they basically use the same color scheme, but I don't like anything about the Commanders. And not that I like the Redskins. I mean, obviously I'm a Giants fan. They're a rival, but there is something about like just the color scheme, the helmet, and everything put together. And thinking back on some of those Redskins teams of the 90s and the 2000s and some of the great players they've had, like Sean Taylor and Clinton Portis and some of the guys they've had through there over the years. So yeah. I don't know. It's just something about like, I don't miss the racism, but I miss everything else that's involved with the Washington Redskins.
Yeah. If there was a way to like keep that like the same exact colors and maybe do something like, I don't know, they might, there's a way to, I don't know. That's been an issue that's been going back and forth there. But yeah, I mean, you go talk about like, in the 80s, you had the Hogs, the offensive line. You had that great trio of receivers, Art Monk, Gary Clark, and Ricky Sanders. Even going, Mark Rippon was a Super Bowl MVP in that card we just showed, and we put it back on the screen there. That was their last hurrah in the Joe Gibbs era, and they haven't won one since. It's been a long time since that card. So maybe they'll turn things around finally, new ownership. I guess with new ownership, they probably wanted to rebrand, but because they just rebranded so recently, they're like, we can't do this again. So they probably have to wait a little bit. Maybe the NFL has a mandated waiting period or whatever, but I could see them maybe changing the name down the line because Commander stinks. Got a Joe Bowden rookie here. Never really panned out. Was high profile prospect. Another Raider, Eddie Anderson. And now we close the pack here. With a 90-plus club, which you think is that's a cool club to be a part of. No. This is Patriots punter Sean McCarthy, who kicked a 93-yard punt that season. So that merited a card there, a 93-yard punt.
Jeez. I mean, that... I guess 93-yard punt, you're probably punting into the wind and you get a fortunate bounce. You happen to be deep enough in your own end where it can actually go that far without it being a touchback. So yeah, shout out to Tom Anderson there, or whatever his name was.
Sean McCarthy.
Sean McCarthy. I don't know where I got Tom Anderson from. I saw Eddie Anderson. I just signed a random first.
So the back of the card says there was a stiff breeze at his back when Sean booted the ball from his 6-yard
I'm
line.
sure there was.
Against the Bills in Week 10. When the ball stopped rolling at the Buffalo 1-yard line, he held the team record for a punt for 93 yards. You know what? That's going in a penny sleeve. I mean, either way, Buffalo or the old New England Patriots Stadium. That's an impressive kick right there.
Yeah, I don't know which stadium that game was in, but yeah, either one of them, you're in the elements. I could definitely see that being a thing, especially Week 10. That's like early November-ish. That's blustery conditions out there. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
Wind can definitely get up to like 15, 20 for sure. Have an effect on the ball.
Yeah, especially in Buffalo. I have a feeling that game was in Buffalo. You're probably dealing with, especially with how they deal with lake effect snow and all that. So
I would lean that way too.
All right, I'm excited to rip these open and see what we have here. So
without further ado,
yeah. So
Jared,
we're going
95 Tetrad here, signature rookies.
95 Tetrad, and we start with Hall of Famer Tony Baselli from University of Southern California. So I'm going to guess there's a lot of collegiate photos in here with the NCAA signing off, this being an NCAA officially licensed product. So, we start off with a Hall of Famer there. Second card is, you're going to have to forgive me because these cards are sticking together. Information card. So, this is like the rules for reading stud poker card that Homer Simpson very infamously tried to give James Bond once in a deleted scene in The Simpsons. I'll read through all that later. We'll see what it is. And we also have a free I don't know. You get two of these weird insert cards already where I got to do a lot of reading. I'm not reading that.
Oh, no. That's way too much reading.
Yeah, way too long. We got one of those B1 Bomber cards that I mentioned of Darren Erstad, who I guess was a first-round pick out of the University of Nebraska and was a pretty good Major League Baseball player in his day, one of 30,000. So I'm not sure. It doesn't say specifically which number it is, but yeah, it's one of 30,000. So we do have the Darren Erstad card. We got Torrey Hunter here. You're going to hear me like literally peel all these cards off the other. I do like the back of them as well because it does have the collegiate stats. And
that's something you don't see a lot in baseball.
Yeah, well, this one actually has his minor league stats. So I guess maybe one of those sponsorship deals was minor league baseball. I'm not 100% sure on that. And I dropped the card as well. So, but Torrey Hunter, borderline Hall very good, certainly. I would say borderline Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive center fielders of his era. Player that I'm not really familiar with from basketball, from the University of Alabama, Jason Caffey.
I remember that name. He came out. He didn't really pan out too well. Yeah, I do remember that name. I want to say he was on his card.
So, let's see. Mike Drumright, player I've never heard of. Pitcher with the Detroit Tigers. Not sure where he played college. I don't think it really matters, but his minor league stats are on the back of the card as well. I want to show the back of one of these cards just so you can kind of see it. So very 90s ish font there. This looks like something you definitely put together like a PowerPoint presentation for.
And the color, I mean, teal is early 90s. The Hornets, the Sharks. I mean, everybody loved that. Whatever shade of teal you wanted, that was great.
And last but not least in this pack is another one of these reading cards. So this one's great play. You read the offense and made the interception, 2 points. I'm not sure what that even means. I guess you send in, I guess you collect the points and then you can send it in for something, maybe an autograph card or something. I don't know. I was under the impression that there was autograph cards already in these packs, so maybe there will be in this other pack. So we'll see what we have here. Let's see. And here's the other version of that card where it's like first down, you get 1 point. So I'm sure this is long expired since then. Oh, yeah. So
those card games that came in the cards were never like that great. They was just like, no, just give me another card. I don't want the stupid card game. Just give me another card.
Right. And, I don't need all these information. So it's like 8 cards per pack, but like 3 of the cards were just like nonsense, like, reading material. All right. Sid Roberson, pitcher with the Milwaukee Brewers. And a hat that is very much not a Milwaukee Brewers hat because they probably didn't have the rights to use it. So
let's see here. Sid Roberson pitched. He went 6-4 in '95, and that was it for his major league career.
So let's see. We have I skipped right over the checklist cards because who cares?
The checklist cards are important if you're building a set. That's it.
Yeah, which I will never build a set of these cards. But we do have a pretty cool card here. One of 15,000 SR Force football cards. Joey Galloway from the Ohio State University. I hate that they do the Ohio State. You're so stuck up your own fucking ass. It's unbelievable.
So, Jared, we've been friends a long time, but when you say things like that, it just strengthens our friendship bond. Because, like, I kind of grew up as a Michigan fan, so I already don't like Ohio State. But even if I had no beef there, the whole the Ohio State thing, but they love it. Like, I used to work with a vet who went to Ohio State Med, and like once I like got comfortable enough with her to like bust chops, I was like, by the way, like, you all really have to go the Ohio State University, and she's like, yeah, we have to. Like, got it. You are all brainwashed.
I mean, I guess it's like that with any fan base. It's like how Yankee fans think they're the best and Cowboy fans and whatnot. But like, I don't know. I know it's a rival, but I think Jim Harbaugh said it best when it comes to Ryan Day. The guy was born on third base and thinks he hit a triple.
Yeah, exactly.
Just inheriting that program. Derek Wallace with the Yankees.
Okay. Definitely looks like a minor league stadium there in the background.
Yeah, and it shows some of the stats on the back as well. I don't even remember Derek Wallace. And you look at some of the minor league teams he pitched on the back. I don't remember them being Yankee affiliates, so maybe they traded for him at one point. Let's see. Brent Berry, here pictured with Oregon State. Pretty good shooter in his day.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, Sherelle Ford, here pictured with Illinois Chicago.
All right. Let's go back to the Joey Galloway card for a second here, because he's not in the Hall of Fame, and he's Hall of Very Good. But if looking at his resume, he's got 10,950 career receiving yards, 700 receptions. How many touchdowns does he have? I don't know if I can make an argument for him for Hall of Fame. He's probably Hall of Very Good. I mean, and I know he's a likable guy, but maybe he never really got a Super Bowl. He did lead the league one year in yards per catch, but yeah, I don't think so.
I want to look up those stats real quick, and then I want to look up another player's stats because they sound very similar, and you're going to hear a lot of this guy is a Hall of Famer, and it's going to drive you nuts in like 2 years.
77 career touchdowns. Oh, but he played what? 17? No, he played 10, 14, 16 seasons. Seattle, Tampa, Dallas, Patriots for 1 year, and Commanders for a year.
All right, so I'm glad I brought this up because you're going to hear a lot of this. You probably heard a lot of it as this player was exiting the NFL. So Joey Galloway, 701 receptions, just under 11,000 yards, 77 touchdowns. No championships, no MVPs. I'm not even sure he ever made like first team All Pro or anything like that. So, I mean, really good receiver in his day, but like, certainly the epitome of Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, he did not. I don't have any accolades here on his Pro Football Reference page. So, yeah, he was just very reliable and a speedy guy throughout his career, but then became
that in 198 games. Julian Edelman, 137 games, 620 receptions, under 7,000 yards, 36 touchdowns, multi-time Super Bowl champion, and was a very good player on those Patriots Super Bowl winning teams. But you heard some of those. Julian Edelman, he's making a Hall of Fame case. And it's like, buddy, no, I'm sorry. The numbers just are not there for Julian Edelman to be in the Hall of Fame. And like, I like Julian Edelman. Like, I see his appearances on these podcasts, and I think he does a fantastic Bill Belichick impersonation, and seems like a very likable guy. Not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry.
Completely agree. Has nothing to do with me being a Jets fan and any sort of anti-Patriot bias. He was a guy you had to worry about. A slot receiver, just would catch anything thrown his way. One of Brady's more reliable guys over his career. I just don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. But just like you have writers that like, oh, we have a grudge against Bonds or we have a grudge against whoever because they don't like him or he was not nice to the media and they keep guys out. I wonder in this day and age with the way social media has the impact that it does, and he is a popular figure on social media, I wonder if that kind of pushes him in a little bit because, it would be again, social media dictates a lot of things, doesn't it?
It does. Do you want to take a guess, like first of all, how many 1,000-yard seasons he has? And then second of all, the most amount of yards he ever had in a season.
All right. So how many seasons was his career?
All right, he played
realistically, not like a 6.
He played 11 years.
Okay. So how many 1,000-yard seasons did he have?
Yes.
I'm going to say 2.
He had 3.
I was going
to. The most yards he ever had in a season was how many? Just take a guess.
I'll say 1150.
You're not that far off. You're actually pretty close to without going over. It's 11-17, which was his
both shows.
That was his final year in New England with Tom Brady. He wound up playing one more year without him, but yeah, that is the peak of Julian Edelman's career. Now I get big time playoff player, made a lot of big catches in playoff games and was a big part of why they have 3 championships, but I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
Yeah, same here. I mean, like it similar career, like Joey Galloway. The numbers we put out, like they're both very good players. They were both very important to their teams when they played, at least in the peaks of their career. But yeah, I don't like if the Hall of Fame should have some sort of like, I don't know, like you can't let everybody in, otherwise it's not really a Hall of Fame anymore. Now, let's get to pull of the day here before we get to the starting lineup figure 5 and say farewell for another episode of Rip and Riff here on YouTube. And, I'm sure you're catching us on Twitter as well. Always have some cool content there. Let's see, Jared. What is going to be your selection for today?
I'm going Joey Galloway. Yeah, I mean, these packs were generally speaking a letdown, especially with some of the names that were promoted on these packs. But I will go with Joey Galloway. I mean, I think that's a pretty solid card to pull there.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to beat mine here. We're going to kind of count them down here. So it could be the Tom Tupa card, but it's not. It could be the 90-yard punt card, but it's not. It's not going to be the Commanders Super Bowl or Washington Super Bowl 26 card. Terrell Buckley rookie, good, but not going to quite cut it. Love Derek Thomas, not quite, though, even though insert. This is a glossy card for the era, so kind of important, but like you said, Luis Robert. That's got to be the winner there for my pull of the day out of the Topps 2023 Baseball Series 2 set.
And frankly, I like that card better than the Joey Galloway card. I think especially with that set of those insert cards, you could probably get some really cool ones with like Otani Japan and so-and-so Team USA and so-and-so Dominican Republic. And so Luis Roberts probably the best player on Team Cuba. So yeah, I would go with that one.
All right, I'll take the victory. I'll take the win. All right, I'm back on. I'm back in the winning column. Very excited.
You're back on track.
After you had won 3 in a row, so good for you. We're gonna go starting lineup figure 5. Now, normally I play an intro video because Jared doesn't know which one I'm picking, but I had 2 pre-picked ones. I let him pick between basketball and hockey. So he selected basketball for today.
Next, I don't know what I'm thinking, but yeah, let's go.
He's taking basketball for today. We'll do a hockey one next week. There we go. There's the bed music. So less than 10 minutes to figure this out.
All right, is this player an NBA champion?
He is not an NBA champion.
Okay. Did this player ever play in an NBA Finals?
He has played in an NBA Finals.
Okay. Is this player in the Hall of Fame?
Just because we just had the conversation, he's Hall of Very Good, but not Hall of Fame.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Two to go.
All right, because the Olympics are going on right now, did this player ever play on Team USA in the Olympics?
He did play on Team USA. Now, I'm not going to say which era.
No, you don't have to. But
knowing what we know about him not being in the Hall of Fame and what we know about the 92 Dream Team.
Yeah, you can kind of narrow it down. And I don't have a strong recollection of who was on the 1996 Dream Team anyways, but I would guess it was somebody who was on that team. And I'm not going to cheat and look it up, so...
On the go. You're doing good. You're getting down the path. There's still not that, like, clearance yet.
Did this player play in NBA Finals? All right, let me try to narrow it down this way. That'll probably be the easier way to do it. Orlando, Indiana. It's not in the Hall of Fame, so who are some of those late 90s teams that didn't win? So Utah, Seattle, 99 was the Knicks. 2000 was Pacers, I think. Sixers was 01. All right. Let's see. Did this player play for the Utah Jazz?
Oh.
Okay, so that eliminates a couple names off the books there. So
there we go.
I really have no idea, mostly just because I don't know who was on the 1996 Olympic team off the top of my head. So I will take a guess. Is it Orlando? Is it? I don't know. Is it Penny Hardaway? Yeah.
Unfortunately, you were on the right path. And when you went through the late 90s losers, you had the team, Mr. Sean Kemp.
I should have known it was Sean Kemp with you. I mean, I felt like that was too obvious. I know you're a big Sean Kemp guy, so kind of is what it is. I
was hoping to unbox him and add him to my display to complete my Sean Kemp area of my display, but unfortunately that will not happen this week. So no worries, Jared. I got 2 in a row. He was due for maybe I think he got 3 in a row. So I think we would do it for letdown. But yes, that indeed was Sean Kemp. He's 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, not at Hall of Famer, was a member of that 96 Dream Team, and played on the Sonics team that went to the finals but lost to the Bulls there. And that was the 96-97 season, I believe. So there we go. Also, one of his All-Star appearances came with the Cavaliers, which I had just learned, which was kind of interesting. But he's going to...
I had forgotten about his Cavs era.
And he finished with the Imagine. And he had 2 years in Portland and 1 year in Orlando. Those are the forgettable ones. I do remember him with Cleveland. He was still kind of a viable player there. But he will not be joining the starting studio lineup audience next week, the studio audience there. Last week's Figure 5 unboxing was Gary Sheffield. So we decided to go NL East after going AL East the previous week. We got John Smoltz, 2000 Classic Doubles. His Classic Double was with that Pedro Martinez you saw the previous week. Keith Hernandez from 1989. Shane Rawley, my first starting lineup from 1988, not 19,888. And then Tim Raines there in the front. He is 1988 Montreal Expos from the NL East there, sliding into a base. So there we go. And that'll do it for this week's starting lineup, Figure 5. But maybe Jared
by the way, Sean Kemp not on the 96 Olympic basketball team. He must have been on a later year, maybe 2000.
According to 94, that was the team he was on because the Olympics jumped 2 years.
Oh, that's right. I forgot there was a 94 Olympics.
Because it used to be that every 4 years, and then they realized let's stagger the summer and winter. So the summer got the jump and went for the 2 year jump from 92 to 94.
No, I thought 92 was Barcelona.
92 was Barcelona. Wait, no, 94 was Lillehammer. What was the
No,
90?
92 was Barcelona. That was the summer. And 96 was Atlanta. I think 94 was Lillehammer, but that was winter.
Yeah, so 90 Sean Kemp, 19. I guess they had an international tournament that year, and that was, what it was, maybe for like a FIBA thing.
All right, I'm going to put an asterisk on this one. Well, I guess I shouldn't, because I'm not going to say that you lied to me, but I certainly feel a little bit misled here.
I honestly was not intentional. It was not intentional.
And by the way, for the record, Penny Hardaway was on the 96 team. So right church, wrong pew.
Right church, wrong pew. Listen, I want to open these things. I want to mislead you on purpose. I want you to get them right. If anything, people would accuse me of maybe, I try to not give you extra hints to try and win. But nonetheless, Sean Kemp will get out another week. I'm not worried about him.
All right, let's wrap this up before we go over the limit.
Yeah, we'll be okay here. But nonetheless, don't forget, folks, you can check us out on Twitter at Pucking Thoughts or at Mr. Jared Moore. We also have some great I got going on. Let's see here. Total Hockey Now. We have a new episode coming out. That just came out, actually, so you could go watch that. And then Jared's got some great poker content, YouTube at Jared Moore Poker. But yeah, nonetheless, we're going to get out of here. And we'll be back with you next week with an all-new episode of RipNRiff here on RipNRiff YouTube network. But for at Mr. Jared Moore, I'm at Pucking Thoughts. See you next week on R&R.